a good percentage of Indian students as well, Hindus and some Muslims. So there was a Hindu guy who was a practicing Hindu, but he converted to Buddhism. And some people have known him for a while, for 3 years there, and he's been attending these Muslim Awareness Weeks, and he's not, like, it doesn't interest him so much. He didn't find anything. So I remember one of the brothers, he said, you know, some of the things you talk about actually might resonate with this person. So what we did, we had a conversation with that person in the coffee shop. I sat with him and we spoke about things, and I explained to him about Islam and spirituality in Islam. And he says, I never knew Islam was like this. He says, that makes so much sense to me, and a lot of what you're saying, I already have it in my life. But I told him the biggest difference is what? You're experiencing spirituality, but with who? He says, with God. I said, who's God for you? He says, God is everywhere. God is in everything. And I said, that's where Islam differs. That's where Islam differs. I said, Islam recognizes that God is the creator and we are the creation. He says, but we say that God is in everyone. So God is in you, and you have to come back to God in you. I said, for us, what's in you is not God. What's in you is the creation of God, and that's your soul. And your soul recognizes God and loves Him and connects to Him and yearns to Him. And when you come back to your soul and nourish it, and you nourish it with the words of God, that's when your soul is going to fly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you make it to Allah before you leave this world. You make it to God before you leave this world. And that's where the beauty comes. So he says, but like that's puzzled him a little bit. I said, you know why? Because when you say God is in everyone, what about these people who are killing others? And I said, you're a Buddhist, right? He said, yes. But it was one form of Buddhism. So I told him, what are Buddhists doing to Muslims in Burma? Is that spirituality? And it's one of their main leaders, right? The main spiritual leaders who are inciting all of this hatred. He said, well, I don't believe in that form of Buddhism. I have a different version of Buddhism. I said, fine. But these people are spiritual and they are doing these things. So who is doing these things? Is it God in them? He said, no, it's the devil in them. I said, so God and devil are inside that person? So he said, I don't have answers for these. I said, no problem. But we have a lot. You have seen that your spiritual quest, I appreciate that you have these tendencies and you're looking forward to fulfill that. But I'm telling him it's going to be deficient, it's going to be problematic until you direct it to the true God, and that's your creator. You need to recognize the separation between you and God. Because claiming to be God yourself, that gives you a merit or a privilege that you have not earned. You are given a privilege being the creation of Allah, being the special creation of Allah, having this soul blown into you that brings you back to Allah, yearns to Allah. But you have to do your part. You have to do your part to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let your soul be connected to Allah for eternity. And that's your challenge in this life. So we parted at that, but he saw so much in common. So after this, the brother says he was asking a lot of questions more about Islam. So the thing is, Buddhism gained a lot of popularity in the Western world in the last 25 years. It gained a lot of popularity. A lot of people actually became, a lot of Westerners, like either atheist, agnostic or Christian, they actually converted to Buddhism. Why? Because of the spiritual aspect of it. Spiritual aspect of it. And the Buddhists have done quite a good job to sort of neutralize Buddhism. They've neutralized Buddhism. In the sense, Buddhism has a lot of baggage within it. So what they did, they removed a lot of the cultural stuff, a lot of the things that don't make sense, okay, intellectually don't make sense, especially go into contradiction with science. They have stripped those down, and they kept the essence of spirituality that Westerners can relate to. This actually, to a certain extent, purified Buddhism of a lot of nonsense, by the way. It was a very good reform in Buddhism. It made it better, okay, more digestible. And that's what you have with the Dalai Lama, right? He's leading this movement now, and he's creating a lot of popularity for that kind of Buddhism. But the problem is, when people get in Buddhism these days, they are shown a lot of the spiritual aspects and so on and so forth, but it's only later on, until they get more into Buddhism, that some of the tenets of Buddhism start actually showing up. Okay? And so, not all of those are actually pleasant to many people. So some people have left Buddhism again. The point is here, again, Islamic spirituality is authentic, is very powerful, is very ethical and universal. So it is our bridge to other people. It is our bridge to other people. Most of the people have negative opinions about Islam. They have no clue about the spiritual side of Islam. So imagine if we connect to people based on these qualities of Islamic spiritualism. It's universal, everyone recognizes it, it resonates with everyone. Everyone, when they see this form of spirituality, it resonates with them. They recognize it in themselves, or they recognize themselves in it. They see the connection, and so they are drawn into it. Second thing, it's ethical. So when it's ethical as well, it helps us connect with people, because we said everyone is drawn into this ethical nature. When they see bravery, when they see love, genuine love, unconditional love, when they see respect, when they see justice, when they see selflessness, when they see altruism, when they see noble, character and husnul khuluq, everyone is drawn into this, and they recognize it and they identify with it because it resonates with the fitrah. So that's a very powerful thing that Islam offers, or Islamic spirituality offers today to the Muslims. So I personally believe the future for da'wah is more with spiritual, Islamic spiritualism. It's more with Islamic spirituality. Why? And it has to be authentic. It has to be authentic. Otherwise, we'll be taking away people from a misunderstanding into another misunderstanding. It has to be authentic spirituality that's based on the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does spirituality has to offer us?